I'll kill you.
Oh.
I ain't playing. Know what I'm saying? Some of the greatest lyrics ever written by Mr. Cent himself. 50, starring in his own film. Get rich or die trying.
Try dying.
The
50.
subject. I know. It should have been try dying.
Yeah. This movie can be summed up as a guy who is trying to get rich and almost dies in the process.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So
Yeah.
maybe that's why they called it that. Now
I think it's
about
fair
it.
to call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
This movie is filled with all of these attempts to get money. They are almost all impeded or interrupted by near fatal
by the
violence.
Grim
Yeah.
Reaper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Damn. You know, Rocco, when you suggested this movie, I rolled my eyes at you. I'll be real. I was like, oh, God.
Well, I didn't because I just know Rocco loves these kinds of movies.
Yeah.
What is that? Wait, what do you mean?
Well,
You know what I mean?
Well, you could
these kinds of movies.
specific. Well, that could mean a certain amount of things. That could mean specifically like a rapper made an autobiography, or the larger sense, which is the why does this exist kind of
that.
stupid thing.
All of the above and
Yeah.
more. And more.
Oh, okay.
But watching this movie, I was like, oh no, this is good. Like maybe it's not the best movie I've ever seen, but it's
Yeah.
not a Howard the Duck situation.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Where I'm like, fuck you, Rocco. I'm not thinking that this time.
Well, it just ties into the reason I did want to say just the reason why I picked this movie on today's. We should say this is Mega64 Movie Club in case you didn't know what you were
And
watching.
we are doing 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
Yes.
And by the way, my question is, who would win in a fight between 50 Cent and Howard the Duck?
Oh.
Probably Howard the Duck. He knows quack foo.
Yeah, quack
absolutely.
foo makes a big difference.
Sorry, 50 Cent.
50
you may be
Cent-
tough, but you don't
50
know quack
Cent.
foo.
He doesn't. He gets defeated multiple times in this movie.
Yeah.
And Howard the Duck, flawless victory.
You know what
almost
though?
every time.
I gotta say though, if you shot Howard the Duck point blank, he'd probably die immediately.
No,
but
he wouldn't.
50 didn't.
Well,
think
that's
so?
true. Right in the face.
I mean, you show Howard the Duck an egg, and the guy is gonna keel over.
Shoot him in the beak.
Anyway, all I was gonna say was the reason.
Oh, hold on, hold on. Well, when it comes to
No, yeah.
talking about the scene where 50 Cent gets shot 9 times, I'm not going to be able to not think of Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Quacking.
Gun point like.
And he falls to the ground and they shoot him
Yeah.
in the web
Howard,
foot.
no, your web
Sorry,
foot.
Rocco.
That's why a lyric in the ending Howard the Duck song was Howard the Duck, impossible to assassinate him. Howard. That's why that's in there
That's why.
to compare it to 50 Cent. Anyway, the reason I picked this movie was because we were at, I want to say it was SGC. That might have been, it was some convention that we were staying at. Derek, you weren't there. It was me, Garrett, and Sean. And there was one day where it's like we did not have anything we had to show up to or something like that. And I was stuck in the hotel room and the 50 Cent movie came on and I'm like, thinking like this is probably a shitty movie. I'll just laugh at this. And I ended up watching the whole thing because it wasn't what I expected. I was like, wait, what? And I look online and it was, this is written by Terrence Winter? He's like one of the lead writers on The Sopranos. He's the showrunner on Boardwalk Empire. I'm like, so there's like people who know what they're doing behind this. However, I do want to say that in the hotel, something happened and we had to rush out when the last 5 minutes happened. So I never got to see the last 5 minutes.
Oh,
You
man.
never knew how it ended.
I didn't know if he got rich or died trying.
Yeah.
So
I was
now we've
surprised
seen
to see
it.
Terrence Winter's name on this as well.
Yeah.
He was, one of the more prominent writers on Sopranos, Boardwalk Empire. He is a very famous and sophisticated screenwriter. It almost seemed to me like the 50 Cent movie is below Terrence Winter.
Yeah.
I did find a trivial fact that says Terrence Winter hates this movie.
Oh.
It says
I did not know that,
The script that he wrote is not what appears on screen.
Oh, really? Okay.
So,
What happened?
well, I don't know, but I'm a fan of Sopranos. That's probably my favorite TV show ever. And I feel like this definitely had the Sopranos framework. In fact, the opening scene reminded me of
Yes.
the scene from Sopranos.
Yes, I agree.
It totally did.
But
yeah.
I feel like
Robbing the card game.
all of the nuance and like I just felt like maybe the more subtle elements of Sopranos were thrown out.
Yeah.
Maybe the more dramatic and artistic elements were replaced with kind kind of more macho.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Hip to the rap persona.
Right.
Yes.
Which
Creative choices.
Yeah, and I do feel like this movie, the way that it was marketed, I thought it was just gonna be like, oh, this is just a dumb rap movie. You know, this is stupid.
Me too.
I'm not taking this seriously. Had they just gone hard in the other direction, the Terrence Winter direction, this would be like a classic. I think. I think the framework
There's
was
some potential there, yeah.
and the story is interesting enough that it's like, yeah, what's gonna happen here? But yeah, then it just kind of got muddled a little bit.
Yeah, and it's funny in you mentioning that. I will say that the last, I don't know how much of it I actually didn't see that first time, but watching it now and getting the full thing, the last part of it actually did lower my feeling on this movie a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like the movie kind of runs out of steam. I think that it's like you said. I went in with my expectations in the toilet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised
Yeah,
by
yeah.
how competent the movie was.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you know this was directed by the same guy who directed Daniel Day-Lewis in My Left Foot?
Sean just told me that.
just
like,
found that out researching
moments
this
ago.
movie. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I've never seen My Left Foot.
Oh, you haven't? Oh,
no,
it's
maybe we
good.
should do that for movie.
You know, I've never seen the whole thing. I've
Oh,
seen
really?
the opening, which was like,
You know what?
Oh my
It's
God.
good, but Daniel Day-Lewis phones it in.
Wow.
Well,
Sorry, Dan.
Daniel
He's not good.
Day-Lewis it's an acclaimed movie where he plays like somebody with
No, it's crazy how good he
is
is.
it cerebral palsy?
Yeah, like he can't move or talk, and like he just like it's just crazy. But he can move his left foot, so he can paint, he can brush his teeth, all that stuff with his left foot. So Daniel Day-Lewis taught himself to do those things with his left foot. It's fucking nuts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, in this movie, 50 Cent raps. You know,
Finally.
it's pretty much just as good as My Left Foot. It's just as compelling.
Yeah.
I found out Samuel L. Jackson was asked to play the big bad guy in this movie.
Oh.
But he refused because he felt that 50 Cent hadn't earned the right to be in a Jim Sheridan movie.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He's like, I think there was a quote somewhere where like, I'm not going to be used to raise the stature of an amateur actor.
Oh.
Something like that. So
Man,
there was
wow.
some beef.
Yo.
Sam
Damn, dude.
Jackson was like,
No.
fuck this movie.
Wow.
So that same, I mean, wasn't this the same year as Snakes on a Plane? I mean, he did that.
It was.
But that was a big deal at the time. You know?
That was a
I
big
would say
hit.
Snakes on a Plane is a more culturally relevant and
Yeah.
successful movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
this
right.
one.
You know, when the
You're
movie
right.
started, and we'll get into the plot in a little bit, but when the movie started and it was him as a kid, I was like, this is rules. Like, I like this. Like, this is super interesting.
Yeah, that was the most interesting part. I felt like when it got to him as an adult, it kind of just turned into every movie that like this that you've seen. Like coming up on the street.
Right.
Yeah, I was involved in drugs. Then my friend got attacked and we had to get him back.
Right.
You know, and then they go to jail, and then I just felt like it kind of turns into like a cliche movie towards the end.
Right.
Yeah.
But the beginning, I really was liking it. And when that little kid, 50 Cent, I thought he was great. Like, I just
Little
like
cent.
Little Cent.
25 cent
Yeah.
at that time.
Penny.
Penny. Yeah. Penny.
Yeah.
But I did want to say though, you mentioned it was was Samuel L. Jackson, was that going to be the guy who played Mr. Echo?
In
was it
Lost?
that role?
I guess so. That's the big bad
Yeah.
guy. Oh, no.
No, it was gonna be the character of LeVar,
Oh,
played by Bill
oh.
Duke.
The guy who says
Bill
he
Duke
is God.
awesome. Bill Duke is awesome.
The guy was good.
Yeah, Bill Duke. I know him from Predator.
Oh yeah.
What else is he in?
Bill Duke's been in a lot of stuff. I mean, he was also in Lost, but he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Was he in any of the Die Hard movies? Did he play? He always plays like a bat. He's very intimidating.
Yeah.
Very intimidating
That guy
actor.
was in Lost? What was
he was a
in?
prison warden at one
Oh.
point when Sawyer was in prison. But he's been in 1,000 movies, and off the top of my head right now, I cannot name them. But Predator is obviously a big one.
So let's get into it. The
Yep.
movie is about 50 Cent, but he's not 50 Cent. He is Marcus Greer. And he goes by the rap name Young Caesar, which confused me because I was like, wait, shouldn't his name be Curtis and his rap name 50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this isn't about 50 Cent. It is, but it isn't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, that was a weird thing as well. And, like, I guess, like, 50 Cent probably doesn't want to incriminate himself and, like, say, this is exactly what happened to me.
Yeah.
Because he could look into it and be like, yeah, he did do this. Let's arrest him. I heard that on Conan. He told Conan that this movie was 75% true.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't say what part was not
Gave
true.
him some wiggle room. But I wonder if that's 50's idea or if that's a Terrence Winter trick, because Terrence Winter did that with Boardwalk Empire. He's like, oh, he's not Nucky Johnson, he's Nucky Thompson. Because there was a lot of historical figures in that show, and he would change their name slightly so that they could kind of pivot certain things,
And do whatever they wanted to
or
do with the
maybe not
character.
give everything,
You're playing fast and loose with facts is what that's called.
Yeah.
The thing everybody knows about 50 Cent, famously, not that he's a rapper, that comes after the fact
Yeah.
that he was shot 9 times.
9
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
yeah.
And lived. So they open up this movie with that event. He's out there, he's being a gangster. They're gonna go rob a Colombian safe house. They get the money, and while they're there, he starts bickering with one of his, what do you call it? A thief mate? A teammate in crime?
Yeah,
partner in crime, I guess.
Like kind of as like underlings a little bit though. Like
Yeah.
he's like in charge.
Yeah, one of them's crazy and wants to start shooting people, and he's like, no, don't do it. And so they kind of run out of there quickly. A shootout breaks out, and they're kind of chased out of there. And then later that night, when he's going to his car, a mysterious assailant comes and shoots him 9 times. This is our introduction to Marcus Greer, and from that point on, we kind of flash back to how did we get here? It's one of those movies. I feel like this is done so often in movies. I don't know if I like this or feel like you can't do this anymore in movies.
What, like the scene? Are you talking about like the scene ahead of time?
Yeah,
and
like
then-
we have a scene and then like pause. Man, life is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, how did I even get to be this fucked up?
Yeah.
Let's rewind.
Yeah, I feel like
the good old days.
I feel like you can't do that anymore.
Remember, that was, if you remember, classic podcast argument many years ago. That was Eric's argument with Uncharted 2. Because that game, you're trying to escape from a train, like
Right.
the train collapsed, and it does that. It stops, and then it's like, how did I get here? And then the game goes back.
Right.
And he was like, you can't do that. And I was like, why can't you? That was a cool level. But that's the argument, I guess.
Well,
We'll bring Eric in here to debate that
Eric will-
later.
Eric, we'll
he
get
had
him down here.
probably seen it and Get Rich or Die Tryin' and thought, you're just ripping off the 50 Cent movie.
Yeah.
That's probably what he thought.
Yeah.
Like Sean mentioned, we get to see young Marcus as a kid, and boy, is he cute. You're telling me this kid's gonna grow up and be shot 9 times?
I know. He seriously is a cute kid.
You
seeing
want
his
to hug
mom.
him 9 times.
You
Yeah.
do.
Absolutely.
You love this kid.
This guy's gonna take my girlfriend to the candy shop and let her lick the lollipop? What? He's too cute for that. Marcus has an adoring mother who is, a young mother, maybe a little irresponsible, maybe just trying to live. She's the typical single mom. She also happens to be a drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
And she drops him off to spend time with his grandparents a lot. But, what I thought, I actually, this is where the movie surprised me. Because I was like, oh, this is the story of like a little kid who's going to lose his innocence. Like his mom and him have such a wholesome relationship, but she's a drug dealer. That was pretty interesting.
Right. Yeah, I think so too. And then like there's a part where she sees him like get in a fight with other drug dealers, and like 50 Cent comes out with a club, like he's gonna fight these. He's a little kid, like, he's not gonna do anything.
Yeah.
But it was like, like I'm just trying to protect you. It's like that's so sweet. It was sweet. There was like heart there.
Yeah, I felt like watching this movie, it was pretty cliche, but every once in a while there would be moments that felt like, oh, that feels like it's something from somebody's real life. And I thought those were the most interesting parts.
Yeah.
The parts that really kind of gave this movie its weight.
Yeah.
So 50 Cent's mother is a drug dealer, and she ends up being killed. But we don't know who the murderer is. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I feel like in any other movie, they wouldn't have a mother killed by an unnamed murderer. But because I feel like that's the way it happened in real life.
Yeah, that's-
his mother died in a murder, and they
Yeah.
never caught the person who did it. What do you do? I mean, that's just the way
Yeah,
life
that's
is.
it. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It was those little touches that, to me, made this movie interesting.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm honestly glad that you didn't know at this point who was the murderer. Like
Yeah.
it would have taken away a lot. And
Yeah, and everything that you're saying, it's so interesting because everything that you're saying too is what was in the DNA of The Sopranos. Like that show was always in that vibe. You know what I mean? Like, go kill this Russian guy. Oh, he got away. And viewers are going, well, I bet that Russian will come back like next episode. And I mean, no, that's it. That's how life is. There is no bow on that. There, and that's what made Sopranos so good, was that feeling of reality with all that stuff.
Sadly, I wish this movie was as good as Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
Season
Yes.
3, episode 11,
Yes.
where Paulie and Christopher fail to kill the Russian.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's that kind of stuff, though. There was always stuff in The Sopranos where they would never wrap up who killed this person, or there'd never be justice for this.
Well, what I liked about The Sopranos, whatever you want to call it, is that they would wrap those things up, but sometimes it would be seasons later. Occasionally, they would leave things open-ended, famously. But I feel like in this movie, at this point, we don't know who the killer is.
Right.
Later on, we find out. But that is after the movie has descended into kind of, this movie's kind of sucking now.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to reveal who the killer is.
Right.
Yeah.
This comes so late in the plot, I feel like you're shitting on the one good part of this movie you had.
Like there is a whole subplot of like how there's a guy named Slim who's a drug dealer who he saw his mom get in a fight with, who he thinks is the murderer, who looks like Rick James, and the whole movie is him hating Rick James and trying to find this Slim guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well what and then by the end it's
That kind of fizzles out. And then
it was me.
Yeah, it really is. It was me. Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Moment. But that comes way later in the movie. So at this point, his mom died, and I was fucking sad. This was so emotional. I was like, dang, this movie is really heavy. At his mom's funeral, there's a bunch of, creepy-looking guys. Just, these guys look a little nefarious. It's like they're gangsters, That's our introduction to these characters that will play bigger roles as the movie goes on. They are gangsters. The main one is... there's a guy named Majestic who's played by the actor who plays Mr. Echo in Lost.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the guy who's closest to 50 Cent's character, but then his boss is played by Bill Duke. We were talking about that was going to be Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
That's a character named LeVar. Basically, 50 Cent's mom is dead. He's living with his grandparents. Life sucks now. He doesn't have any money for new clothes, so he becomes a drug dealer. And then we see little kid drug dealer story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, something I know nothing about, honestly. So, to see it, it's like, well, I mean, did this happen did Curtis Jackson do this? I think so. I think he became a little kid drug dealer. And it's interesting and sad to see, but it's like, I've never seen this. What do we got here?
Yeah, I feel like I have seen a lot of movies where this is the story. This, for me, is where the movie started just kind of getting into a formulaic, here's one thing I don't like about this movie. I don't like the fact that it's narrated by 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Because I wish that they could just construct his story in a way where they show it to you and it's really compelling.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think there's interesting stuff happening here, but the way it's presented, he narrates it and then it happens, and then it happens and he narrates it. It felt like, and then my mom died and I needed money. I turned to the only thing I knew, drugs. What's in this bag?
Yeah.
Drugs?
Yeah.
Yeah, that whenever I hear narration through a whole movie, I think that always to me reeks of studio notes. Like, hey, you're going to have all audiences come into this, so maybe just throw in narration and really clear this up, and that's what it always feels like to me.
And if you're going to have a narrator, they have to be good. A good actor.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like 50 Cent was up for the task.
Let's take a moment to talk about how 50 Cent sucks at acting.
Yeah.
The little kid in this movie is great.
Yes.
And then it's like a few years later, I was all grown up. And then it's just the most wooden, unemotional acting. I felt like 50 Cent, this was his first movie, and he had already fully embodied the rapper persona.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't take it off. And he couldn't show you being a young guy, develop. I just felt like there wasn't enough emotional depth there. It was very I'm 50 Cent. I'm tough. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And that was kind of the whole depth.
And
of his
character. I don't mind 50 Cent in general. I think 50 Cent's good.
Yeah.
But in this movie, it's I wish you would have had a different actor play 50 Cent. That would be better. Maybe.
He definitely comes off as a nice guy, a heartfelt guy.
Yeah. You like it. You do root for him.
Yeah. I just felt like there was never emotionally deep moments where you're like, I fucking feel for this guy.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, though, because I'm going to throw 50 Cent some points here.
Okay.
Not for this movie, but He has been in more movies since this, and I actually think he has gotten better. It's almost like this came too early, where he, exactly what you guys are saying, he hadn't like developed that yet or something. He did a movie called Gun, and he actually like wrote it himself.
Whoa.
And he wrote it himself. He stars in it. I think like Val Kilmer is in it, and like I don't know, it was a B movie. But it's actually like not the worst. It was another case of like, I thought this would be worse than it was. Huh. And he gets like killed in the movie or something. Sorry if I'm spoiling.
Oh no!
I didn't mean to get it.
Hope you didn't
No,
plan on watching
he gets shot or something. I don't remember if he dies, but there's part in it where I was like, dude, he like sold the shit out of that. He couldn't believe, it's like, oh my God, like he's wigging out that like he got shot. And like, I remember thinking like, whoa, that was like better than I thought 50 Cent could do. And I know he was in that movie Den of Thieves recently, and people said he was really good in that. And anyway, I just want to say, like, I think he got there.
Right.
I think he wanted to be there before he was ready. Like, this was, yeah, I totally agree with you guys. It's like he's not as deep.
In this movie, he sucks.
Yeah.
And I did a little research and found that 50 Cent hired an acting coach to be on set with him.
Okay.
And Jim Sheridan, the director, fired the acting coach and demanded that she be removed from set.
What?
Banned from the set. And then he told 50, this movie isn't going to live or die on your acting. What's the exact quote here? It said, it doesn't matter if you're a good actor or a bad actor. It only matters how good I direct you. That's what he told him.
That's some ego shit.
It's like, this movie is gonna be a success or a flop based on how good I direct you. Consequently, the movie had a $6 million profit margin.
So that's not great.
Cost $40 million, made $46. I think we can consider that a flop.
Yeah, I mean, like, you made your money back, but what was the point?
Just imagine if you had allowed that acting coach to stay on set.
Yeah.
50 learn how to act.
That's weird. You think, especially since 50 Cent hired the acting coach, like, yeah, I can acknowledge that I need help.
Yeah.
Let's get some help.
But as Rocco mentioned, he did get better with time. So I'm not here to say 50 Cent can't act. Just not that great.
Also, he's way tougher than me, so I don't want to talk shit on 50 Cent if he sees this. 50, if you're a patron, I'm sorry.
He does have a great scene in, there's a movie, Escape Plan, where he knocks someone out and he gives a great quote. Sleepy time, motherfucker, is a great scene. You got to watch that.
That sounds good.
Yes. I'll have to put that on my watch list.
Escape
To-do
Plan
list.
with Arnold and Stallone. It's really something else.
I'm trying to remember where we are. Honestly, for me, the movie kind of dragged here, where I just felt like it was very cliche. So 50 Cent's on the streets, he's selling drugs, people confront him. Yo, this is my block. He gets into fights. He's about to get beat up, but then an older guy comes to protect him. This is Mr. Echo, also known as Majestic. I say Mr. Echo because whenever I see this guy, I can't not think there's Mr. Echo.
100%.
It was a great role.
I'm a Lost fan.
Well, yeah, but there's some characters that are so good in that role that you see them forever and go, oh, that's what you are.
Yeah, they'll never not be that character.
Yeah.
I think people who are really into Oz, remember that HBO show?
Oh, yeah,
Oz?
Garrett saw that.
I guess he's a really iconic role in that, but I never saw it.
Yeah, apparently he's fucking scary in that.
Yeah.
I also want to mention that we didn't cover this, but there was a girl when he was younger who he wrote a rap song for. That was very inappropriate. Her dad heard the song and then sent the girl off.
I can't believe I forgot that. That was one of my favorite parts. The little kid 50 Cent writes a song and it's like, best friend, I'ma make you mine. Best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. And then it like little kid 50 Cent. You my best friend and I wanna do ya. Flip you up and down while I screw ya. Best friend.
Yeah.
I'ma skeet in your hair.
Yeah.
Best friend. We gonna do it everywhere.
Yeah, it was pretty much that. That's pretty
that.
good.
Typical song any kid would write to a best friend.
So then, Daddy hears that and it's like, you can't be around this boy anymore. You got to go. So he sends her away. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that because he grows up, he becomes a drug dealer, he starts making all this money, buys flashy cars, drops out of school. Typical drug dealer rapper storyline. Then, all grown up, he meets that girl again. Her name is Charlene. Excuse me. And they have they reunite.
Which, there were so many things with this movie where I guess you have to assume things, but it's like, she's just walking down the street with her dance friend. He just shows up, and then now all of a sudden it's like, all right, I found you. Now we're a thing. And it's like, you don't even see it though. It's just like all of a sudden it's like, oh, I guess they're just dating now. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a perfect example to me. Like, I feel like if this was a better written movie, you would have that moment on camera where she is hesitant of this guy, and then, I see it. I see his charm working on her.
Right.
I see her falling.
And there was none of that. It really was like she was sent off and now is a dancer. And it seems like she had nothing to do with the streets at all. And now all of a sudden she's dating a drug dealer and is fine with it. Like, what happened?
And instead of seeing that scene, it's explained by narration.
Yeah, exactly.
So then I met Charlene and we were back. And it cuts to them on a date. Like, so what are we going to do later? And it's
Yeah.
the narration makes it cheap. It just helps them cut corners that would have really helped out the movie to see that stuff.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add about him kind of in his role at this point in the movie? Dropping out of high school, just being a successful drug dealer?
No, I mean, not anything that hadn't already been said. I totally agree with what you're saying. A lot. The narration doesn't really like let the movie be all it can be.
There's also a character they keep talking about, Dangerous, the rapper.
Yeah.
Now,
let's talk about Dangerous.
I couldn't figure out.
By the way, I did so much research to try to find out who Dangerous was.
Okay, did you? Because
No!
I did the same. Okay, damn.
I don't
It wasn't
know if
like-
Dangerous is a real person.
Yeah.
Or,
It wasn't Tony Yayo or
just-
something.
I don't know. I don't know if he represents kind of a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I think might be the case. He's a composite character.
But I couldn't figure out because it kept saying, "Oh, there's Dangerous. Oh shit, there's the gangster
Yeah,
rapper,
who is that supposed to
Dangerous."
be?
But it's like, okay, well, who is that? Also, like, he's still living in the hood.
Yeah.
So, like, is he really popular, or is he just like popular like in this street? You know, like I don't know, like how big are you really? You know?
What, Dangerous?
Yeah, like is he like an international star, or is he just some guy who's famous in just one little part of New York? Like, what is it?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that we live in San Diego, and there is no rap music scene here.
Yeah.
I think that there are other cities around America, like Atlanta and New York,
Definitely, yeah.
where there
I know.
is a much bigger music scene where there's actually rap and hip hop record labels are based there.
Right.
So the concerts are more important, and getting bigger in those communities can lead to mainstream success.
I see.
I do think it is more important in those communities to reach those smaller, be popular within the community.
Yeah, I feel like the closest thing we ever had was just like our pop punk scene. You know what I mean? Like where it was like they had bands that were important to us and maybe nobody else.
Right.
But that didn't happen with rap.
Yeah, but it was weird because it's like, oh God, there he is. It's like, yeah, he's always around. I always see him.
Yeah.
He's the biggest musician who is unsigned, the
Right.
biggest indie musician
Gotcha.
in that music scene.
Okay.
So yeah, Dangerous, and the character of Dangerous he's a phony. He kind of represents everything that they say gangster rappers are. Like it's just music, it's not real. you know?
Yeah.
He's the antithesis of 50 Cent, who is the actual gangster wishing he could be a rapper. Dangerous is the rapper wishing he could be a gangster.
Right.
So the movie got a little bit more interesting for me when the feud with the Colombians started picking up, only because the action was really gnarly.
Yeah.
They're drug dealers and a turf war breaks out. They work in a neighborhood that is on the border with the Colombian neighborhood, and the Colombian neighborhood has its own gang of drug dealers, and it clashes with 50 Cent's crew and the whole Majestic LeVar gang at large. So you see a series of like ambushes where they're like getting into a car and a guy like jumps out a window with a machine gun and shoots the top of the car.
Right.
And, trying to remember any of the other ones. It was just a bunch of. It was almost like a Scorsese montage.
It reminded me a lot of what was his last movie he just did?
Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
Irishman?
Irishman. It reminded me of the scenes in Irishman, honestly, like his hits that were going down in that movie.
Yeah. This was very Terrence Winters. Again, this was like, this feels like Sopranos.
Yeah, definitely I could see that.
Did Terrence Winters write The Irishman?
I think he did
he
actually
did.
have something to do with it
I'll
at
look it up.
least. Yeah.
I thought I remembered that. So, the movie kind of goes places, but generally throughout the second act, you see the elevation of the turf war between the Colombians and 50 Cent's group. They try to make peace, too many people died, and the leaders had to come together. Then you see the leaders come together, they made peace. You see them make peace. But then one night 50 Cent is in a I keep calling him 50 Cent.
Yeah.
His name is Young Caesar.
Young Caesar.
Marcus is in a club with Charlene and his friends, and Raul, one of the Colombians, tries to shoot him. Again, this is like straight out of Scarface. It literally is the scene from Scarface
Yeah.
where they have the shooting in the club. To me, it was almost identical. But instead of getting him, they wound his friend, Antoine.
Yes.
And so they decide to do a retaliation where they roll up on a corner where the Colombians are dealing drugs, and 50 Cent gets out with a gun and attacks them. And he almost kills this guy, but at the last moment, he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he just shoots him in the leg.
Which is what I saw this, I thought, oh, this maybe is the 25%. Because 50 Cent would never, if he did kill someone in real life, he would never admit that.
I killed a guy and got away with it.
Yeah,
Anyways,
right? Yeah, so in the movie, he's like, I'm just going to shoot you in the leg. It's like, I don't know what he did, but I could see that being like, yeah, if that happened, I'm not talking about that.
But also, I don't know. I watched this and I'm thinking, how much of this actually happened? Was it this dramatic?
Yeah.
Did 50 Cent, like, you got out of the car by yourself? Like, none of you were going to do
That's
it?
true.
Fine. And he takes on, like, 5 guys by himself.
That's a good point.
And then at the last minute, like, nah, I'm too good for this. How much of that really happened?
sure.
I don't know. So, because the gangs had made peace and 50 Cent committed this hit, there's a meeting called with his whole gang, and it's, you can't be going against the boss, and nobody's going to fess up, but somebody's going to have to take the fall for this, and they pull 50 Cent to the side, and they're like, we know it was you. You're going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
This, honestly, and by the way, this happened so fast, I was starting to get confused.
I was getting confused as well.
I had to rewind the movie because I was like, why is he in jail again? And it's like one conversation, boom, you're in jail.
Yeah, that was really like, did I miss something?
Yeah, and it was, again, narration that told you he was going to jail, but it's like, wait, what? Like, why?
But then we come to the best scene in the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, dude.
I rewound this to watch it twice. It really has no bearing on the plot, but he takes a shower and a naked knife fight breaks out. And this was some Eastern Promises shit.
It was.
If you've ever seen Eastern Promises, that famously has a naked knife fight, and this one was like just as nail biting.
It was 5 wet, naked dudes trying to kill each other, and it was, and like the camera, I thought for the most part was like, here's the shot, okay, go.
It was a wide.
It was a wide shot, and it's like, go ahead and fight, and it's like, whoa.
Which is a testament to how just like captivating it is. I was scared one of the actors was going to slip and fall.
Yeah.
Just filming it.
Yeah, it was actually, palms sweat a little bit watching that,
They're fighting in a wet shower.
Palms were wet for a few reasons, but yeah.
Yeah, they were showering.
I was just enjoying. Okay.
Oh. You do see a lot of dick and ass in this movie, surprisingly. So,
Yeah.
which, by the way, Terrence Howard, the actor, he first shows up in this fight scene. Apparently, he didn't want to do it naked, and 50 Cent convinced him to do it.
Wow.
So,
Man, convincing guy.
Yeah.
how'd that conversation go?
Yo, Terrence, get that dick out. Let's fight.
Yeah.
When 50 Cent convinces you, is it like, yo, I respect you so much, you have to do it, it would be great for the movie? Or is it like, yo, if you don't show your ass and dick, I'm going to beat you up for real?
Yeah.
We don't know.
We never learned the negotiation there.
That was a crazy scene, though.
Yeah.
It really was. And like, it's a scene that, like, maybe the movie's a little bit forgettable for some parts. I'll remember that forever because that was a very intense scene.
Hey, I'll say this. It reminded me of the scene from Old Boy. From people who have seen Old Boy and know the scene, it reminded me of that. For people who haven't seen it, there's a famous one-take fight scene in Old Boy.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I never saw it.
I got a movie club movie for us coming up. Oh boy. Stay tuned for that one.
Spike Lee version, preferably, though.
We'll watch them both.
I'm a big Spike Lee nut.
So he meets this, he's rescued in this knife fight by Terrence Howard, who plays another inmate named Bama, who is a crazy guy, but instantly kind of just takes a liking to Marcus, and they become friends. While he's in jail, he kind of decides, I want to give up the rap game, and I want to give up the drug and crime game and be a rapper. Another moment in this movie that I thought felt real is when he's in solitary confinement and somebody drops a razor off for him.
Right.
Because again, you never know who or why, and it just seems like the fucked up shit somebody would do in real life,
Right.
And he's like, they wanted me to kill myself, but I wasn't going to do it. Instead, I was going to channel my emotions into rap.
Right.
And then you see him do that.
Would you do also? Did I miss the passage of time? Because they never said how long he was in jail or the sentence.
Yeah.
And so it's over, and he's leaving jail. But it's like for me, this was a 10-minute ordeal.
Yeah.
So how long were you really in jail
Was
for?
that 30 days or 3 years?
I
don't know.
truly
30
have no
minutes.
idea.
We don't know. But he leaves jail with Bama. Bama leaves first and tells him, you should be a musician and I'll be your manager. And when 50 finally gets out of jail, Majestic, his old boss, comes and is like, you're going to be back in my gang. And he's like, no, I'm going to be a rapper. At this point, I feel like, how long is this movie? You know?
Right. Yeah.
We're just now getting to you being a rapper. So we're going to speed through to the end, even though there is quite a bit more. Essentially, Majestic doesn't like that 50 Cent's going to be a rapper. Majestic wants to be the big boss of the gang, so he sabotages LeVar and sends him to jail. 50 Cent goes to jail and talks to LeVar and finds out LeVar is his father.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
We totally skipped over the fact that Majestic earlier in the movie taught these guys how to make crack cocaine.
Right.
And had a great speech about crack cocaine is a bitch. Don't ever take the panties off this bitch.
Yeah.
Oh.
What a quote.
What a quote.
Anyways, I think this guy is like smoking crack, going crazy. 50 Cent's trying to get record deals, but everybody like throws him out because they're being intimidated by Majestic.
Yeah.
Despite all that, he continues to get success. And, you know, let's just fast forward to the conclusion because it's kind of anticlimactic anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like he has a baby with what's the girl's name? I forget her name.
Charlene.
Charlene.
And
With
remember, we did say this movie loses a lot of steam.
yeah, and I really feel like once that naked fight is done, the movie is like it's just downhill from that.
Yeah.
Nothing else worth waiting around for.
Really, and it's just like, okay, now I'm gonna have a baby. Okay, now I'm gonna rap more. Now I'm gonna get intimidated. But now instead of fighting back, I'm gonna rap back, and I'm gonna insult you with my lyrics. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, all right, let's do this.
It literally comes down to he's gonna have a concert, ladies and gentlemen. He's gonna fucking do it. Deal with it,
Yeah.
world. Deal with it,
Yeah.
Majestic. Well, guess who shows up?
Uh-oh.
Majestic. And he has a bunch of guys with him. And you're not gonna believe this. This one is gonna piss you off, ladies and gentlemen. Majestic says, I killed your mom.
Oh, no.
Why would you say that?
That's the last thing you
say-
should have said,
That's
Majestic.
the one thing you don't say to this guy.
Yeah, and in general, if you kill someone's mom, you want to keep that to yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't tell them.
That's just life advice.
So they fight.
They fight.
They do.
It's very DBZ style
I-
kind of battle.
We'll get back. I have another issue with this movie that we haven't gotten into, but we'll get back to that in a second. Why did he went into a place unarmed with all of 50 Cent's crew
The movie falls apart at the end.
and
Yes.
then tells 50 Cent, I'm the one who killed your mom and I had sex with her before I did. And then is somehow surprised that he's going to get fucking killed here. It's like, what was your
Yeah.
fucking plan,
And
man?
then, because there's this weird like 50 Cent's not a bad guy subplot,
Right,
like,
right.
subtlety throughout this movie.
Yeah.
Even though he clearly is a drug dealer and murderer.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a bad guy, so he beats him up real bad, but doesn't kill him.
Right.
And then the guy is begging him, like, kill me, kill me. So Bama kills him. Terrence Howard.
Yeah, he wanted 50 Cent to do it. And he said, you're not worth my fucking time.
Yeah. But then his, like, henchman kills him.
Right.
Oh, good guy.
Much better.
Yeah, good.
Much better.
Yeah. Glad you didn't do that.
I'm a good man. I'm not going to kill you. Hey, can you kill this guy real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
boom,
you.
boom, 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 boom.
God,
Time.
thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Glad I didn't have to do that myself.
Yeah.
I'm clean. At this point, he's wearing a bulletproof vest, and you guys, he takes it off.
Oh,
And then-
no more fear.
He goes and he
No
raps,
fear.
and he raps a song called "Hustler's Ambition," and the movie ends.
Now, this is what I need to get back to. This is what I need to get back
Started
to.
off great.
Yes, it did. There is a part with him recovering from the gunshot wounds. And that was
Right.
a little, it's like, oh shit, like, yeah, he's fucked up. And then like his jaw is like wired shut.
We should say it started on this scene and then it rewound. And so after he meets Bama and is trying to become a rapper, they don't have any money. So Bama convinces him, let's do one last heist.
Right.
And that's where we go back to the first scene where he robs him.
Yeah.
Right.
The person who ended up shooting him in the movie was his friend Justice, who worked for Majestic.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's so fucking stupid. So he's, taking these like drugs to like deal with the pain.
Oh, yeah, this was great.
Deal with the pain, and then Charlene says like you're nothing. First off, they live by a waterside park by the beach. Like what? It seems to me like prime real estate, and I don't know.
I don't think they live there. I think they just go there a lot.
Oh, I couldn't tell what the fuck. It didn't tell you. A lot of these things just didn't tell you these things. My main issue, and this is stupid, whatever, but his fucking jaw is wired shut, and he's arguing with Charlene, and she's going to leave him. He convinces her to stay and say, I'm going to change. Then it cuts to them cutting the wires out of his mouth to be able to talk again. And the second he does, they start fucking making out hardcore. And all I'm thinking is, this dude hasn't brushed his teeth in 4 months. Like, what the fuck? There's no way. And I know that they would never show that. But it's like, all you think is you got the stinkiest breath ever, and you're making out with this girl. And then they go to the sex scene. That is 50 Cent's they're going crazy. They're going fucking
He's giving
nuts.
69 cents during that.
It really, he's eating ass. It gets fucking nuts.
Yeah.
This movie, man, they don't pull punches. Anyways, for some reason, the wire getting removed and then making out was like, ew. That was my main thought of this whole movie.
Well, that's why they put the eating ass in there. You kiss that, you'll kiss anything, Yeah, I don't think we're missing. I mean, we left a lot out, but I don't think we're missing anything because that's it. He actually doesn't get rich. By the end of the movie, he's not rich, nor has he died.
Right.
So the movie fails on both promises.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how far they were going to get into the Curtis Marcus. Is he become fucking famous and rich? Are we going to see him in a mansion? Oh no, we're not.
No, that never happens.
No.
It reminds me of when Roger Ebert reviewed X-Men Origins Wolverine. He said, this movie finished, did not see the X-Men, and I still don't know what Wolverine is. The movie starts with him doing his claw, like the claws coming out. He's like, I still don't know what that is.
How did that
Never
happen?
saw the X-Men, so the title unfulfilled. I think about that all the time.
Same with this one. And by the way, coincidentally, as of 2015, I think 50 Cent filed for bankruptcy. So,
however,
still trying.
Yeah, I have heard there was a reason that he did that because he was in the middle of a bunch of different legal things or something.
So
I think he did that where he claimed personal bankruptcy, but he still had, he posted, it's funny you mentioned that. This is one of my favorite Instagram sagas I've ever seen because I followed him on there. And people were saying, wow, 50's broke. So then he posted a picture with stacks of cash everywhere, and he's wiping his tears like he's crying with stacks of $100 bills, going like, there's a reason I said I was bankrupt, and it's not because I'm actually bankrupt. He got in trouble in court for that.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done that, 50.
Well, this is a lot of unclaimed cash. Where is that? And he said, oh, don't worry, it was fake. It was for the photo. To which they responded, okay, well, that's a lot of counterfeit money. So where was that printed?
Oh, fuck.
And it just turned into a whole thing. So anyway, read up on that. It's a lot of fun to
So
read.
is he or isn't he broke? The jury's still out.
Yeah.
We don't know.
But I think he's still got money.
He
It
made
seems
those
like
condoms. I think he's doing just fine.
That's true. Yeah.
So
He's got that vitamin water money.
Oh fuck! I forgot his vitamin water. He's like a billionaire now.
I don't know if vitamin water is still being drank that much.
You know what? Not by me, but I'm sure I see it. I see it out there.
Okay, so I think it's time to do popcorn shakes.
Rocco, you want to do the honors since you picked it?
Yeah, I just wanted to say the ending part is what knocked the movie down a notch for me when everything you mentioned about that last scene. To me, it was just the fact that a man was murdered backstage. Okay, is he dead? Yeah, all right, let's do the show. Take you to the candy shop. It's like
You've seen
that lowered the whole movie to me, where it was like there is a bleeding corpse right back there. We're gonna keep doing the rap show.
Well, my thought was like, they got to deal with that. I'm rapping. You know?
Yeah,
that's Bama's problem.
But that was symbolic to me of the whole last kind of chunk of it, like we were saying. So yeah, I really enjoyed what I saw when I saw it at that hotel. Seeing the last part took away from it. But I still don't think this is an unwatchable movie. It's still an entertaining movie. So I don't know. It's hard. I can't decide if I want to do a 2 or a 3. Probably given what happens at the end and the way it wraps up, I'd probably say a 2. I'll probably round it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's not much to be said. Could have been worse.
Yes.
Started out pretty good. Watch that knife scene.
Yeah.
If nothing else, just look that up because that's the best part of the movie. I'm going to say 2.5, 2.5.
Yeah, that's probably where I would, if we're doing 0.5s, I would agree with that. 2.5.
Yeah, and I think, again, I thought I was walking into like a Howard the Duck situation. It wasn't that. It was a pretty competent movie up until the end. I just wish they could have cut the narration stuff and just told me these things a little bit cleaner, maybe. So I'm gonna give it a 2, but it wasn't bad. It's a high 2.
It's so funny we keep talking about the narration thing. YouTube has been putting out a bunch of like free movies. If you have like YouTube Premium or whatever, there's just in your recommended now. There's just full movies in there. And so the other night, Idiocracy came out, and I put that on. And that's another movie that's like there's clearly narration used as patchwork for this like unfinished movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just funny. I was thinking that the other night. I was like, man, excess narration can kill a movie. And it kind of takes away on that one, too. So I was already thinking about that.
I think the only person who can get away with narration in a movie is Scorsese.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it works great in that.
Or Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Yeah, a movie like that.
Other than that, it always just ends up like this. You're just telling me things I'd rather be watching.
You know what? There is, I'm trying to think, Nightmare Before Christmas has a narrator at the very beginning and never again. You set it up and then you let him go. That's fine with me.
Oh, yeah. It's not like you can never have a narration in a movie, but just when it's used as to explain away stuff you don't have to show and like that kind of stuff, it's a crutch. And
Yeah.
What do you give this one?
Oh, yeah, it's a 2.
It's a 2,
I give it
yeah.
2.
Oh, you already said
I give
2.
it 2,
Well, all right.
So I think
do we round up our 2.5s? Is that how this
I'd
works?
rather round it down.
So
I'll give it a 2.
technically 2.
we all give it a 2.
Anyway.
Fair enough.
6 out of 15.
Okay.
All right, Derek, you are up.
50 Cent has a song, Candy Shop. You listen to that song too many times, you're going to get hungry.
Yep.
You're going to have to go down to the deli, get yourself something to eat.
Yep.
While you're down there at that old deli, why don't you watch the movie Delicatessen? Because that's the movie we're going to be doing next week on Movie Club. I don't know what Delicatessen is. I don't know why I'm picking Delicatessen.
Okay.
I think there's a pig on the cover. I think it has something to do with a deli. I don't even remember how I heard about this movie.
Whoa.
But I have an impression once that somebody told me it was good.
Wow.
Okay.
That's okay.
We're gonna find out.
We'll find out
We will.
if this happened or not. Thank
We're
you
going to see
for
how
watching.
good this deli really is.
Delicatessen next week on Movie Club.
I'm hungry.
Yum, yum.
Goodbye.